Hello, welcome back. It is a lovely, actually quasi sunny Sunday over here. Today is a kind of a special day for me, in that with this game specifically, because it kind of represents the ability to play one of my probably top 20 games again, probably for the first time in years. I just realized I didn't plug something in, so I'm going to keep talking while I go fix that. So pardon me while I disappear off camera. Um, this game is a reimagining of a game that I really, really love. It is a game called Santa Maria. Santa Maria came out in 2017, I want to say. And it's a wonderful dice manipulation, dice placement, worker placement game. Hey, thanks for the biddies. Net God, a prince among men. All right. Now, Santa Maria is this lovely dice placement, dice manipulation, worker placement game with some really novel mechanics in it, most of which make a reappearance here in this game, which is Saltfjord. Same designer, same publisher. Now here's why I don't play it. Here's why I don't play Santa Maria. Here's why it hasn't still come off of my shelf. I still own it because I guess I'm in mourning. I don't know, or have been in mourning. The reason I don't play Santa Maria, which is, if you know anything about Santa Maria or this game, Saltfjord, you probably already know the answer to this. But if you don't, Santa Maria's big problem is its theme. You're playing Spanish conquistadors, blatantly colonizing. Like, I mean, the art is great. The thematic integration, everything about it, like, makes perfect sense. It plays really well. You just can't get over the fact that, hey, I am succeeding where others are oppressed, right? So you can't really, if you're playing that game and you're at all paying attention, and you're at all empathetic, it's really hard to put that idea aside and just play the game. At least it has been for me. I can't speak for everybody, but that's been my experience. And it really bums me out because when I first played the game, I really wasn't paying much attention to the theme. The mechanics just seemed so interesting and exciting. And the more you started staring at it as you're playing the game, you're like, wait. So I played it, I loved it, and then I went back on the shelf, and then every single time there was this emotional baggage in the back of my head saying, God, I want to play this game really bad. I love it. And I just couldn't get it to the table. So here we are, fast forward, 2025, same designer, same publisher. 2024 rolls around, they announce, hey, we got a new game coming. If you love Santa Maria, take a look at Saltfjord, because it is a reimagining of Santa Maria in a totally different theme. And it removes all of that, colonizer problem that we're dealing with in Santa Maria. And it puts you in the setting of a Norwegian fishing village that is in this kind of state of evolution. And you represent kind of the new blood in this village, trying to ensure that your cultural legacy and this town and its ability to survive, this village, is able to do that into the next generation. And to do that, it's a blend of A, of course, survival, but B, how do we grow and evolve how we do things, what we do and when we do it. And so there's this balance between building up your area of the fishing village and getting more and more done, getting more and more efficient as you go, and then also trying with an eye towards the future. How do I want to innovate? How do I want to improve on the way we do things? Like, is there new technologies that we can unlock? Are there ways of producing these buildings and producing these goods in a way that is more efficient than they have been in the past? What can we do to do some research into our own technology and make things better? That is essentially the theme. I'll read it out of the book in a minute just to set the table for everybody. But that is essentially where we are with Saltfjord. And at the same time, you're still going out into the fjord and doing fishing along the way and bringing your boat back at strategic times and collecting everything that you've fished out of the waters and using that to then continue to further what you're working on. You're fulfilling orders. I mean, this is a fishing game. One thing that I have really come to realize is that yes, dice manipulation and dice placement are huge mechanics in my book. I absolutely love those types of games. There's another game that is like that I will soon probably get off the shelf and stream again. That is absolutely probably in my top 10 of all time. I haven't done it yet, but I will. But this game ranks right up there with that, or at least Santa Maria did. We'll find out about Saltfjord. Haven't played it yet. Don't know. I think it will. It is a little on the heavy side, but it all thematically integrates well. So I don't know that it's going to be that difficult to play it. I really don't. After first couple turns, I think it's all just going to click right along, even though it's got a lot of places to think. What was I going to say? Oh, the thing that I noticed, other than the fact that I like dice placement and dice manipulation games, is that I really like it when a game is able to introduce a lot of player choice, really strong thematic integration, a lot of agency into the game, and never use a single playing card. There's not a single card in this game. It's just tiles and dice and a few bits. And not even that many bits. This is the entire, other than what you see on the main board, and I'll show you the other part of the game. This is literally all of the bits. These are little brown wooden cubes. And they're like 1 cube. The small ones are like 1 resource, and the big ones are like 3 resources. So that you can make change. That's it. Those are the only components in the whole game. And yet it is this elegant, crunchy little decision space. And like all good Euros, it's a point salad. You can make points doing all kinds of things, which is good for a multiplayer game. Also good for a solo game because it means you can pivot a lot and say, oh, well, I'm not getting the tiles that I expected to get or whatever, so I'm going to move and shuck and jive and change up my strategy. A lot of replayability because there's a lot of there's starting resources. We'll get into that and we'll show you what that looks like in a minute. And there's a decision around which set of resources to start with and how that's going to influence your overall strategy. And that's combined with these initial scoring conditions that you get drafted at the beginning of the game during setup, so that you're going to be looking at your personal goals going, those are going to score me points. So what set of starting resources and abilities can I tie with what I know I need to achieve? And that is going to be different every single time you play the game. So that plus how the tiles shuffle up and how the dice roll on a given game. And again, there's lots of agency there. And how these tiles out in the water are distributed every time and which player powers you can go after. Every game is going to look and feel differently. And the player board, which now is a good way to segue into that. The player board looks like this. This is the player board down here. Let me make sure it shows up. It's not showing up. Why isn't it showing up for you? That's interesting. It's showing up for me, but not for you? Do you see the overlay? Do you see the player board on here? I'll pause there and make sure. That is odd. Huh. Okay. I'm not seeing it. Let me pause there, and I'm going to go figure out why I'm not seeing it. That should be visible for you. One moment. What is going on there? Yeah. Oh. Okay. Hold on. I'll go there then. How's that? Let's see, does that work? Probably does. Hey, that looks like it's working now. Okay, pardon me. Pardon my dust. Okay. Anyway, back to what I was saying. This here is the player board. These are two different boards side by side. They are basically my personal village boardwalk, if you will, like my out by the piers, right? And you're shipping all of your goods off of these piers here, these 4 piers. We'll get to what these are in a minute. But this is the player board where the action happens. Right over here, these are dice worker placement places. So we're going to be drafting dice that are either orange or yellow, or white, yellow, orange or white. And based on whichever color we draw, let's say we drew this one of white here, and if we drafted that, then we would execute this entire column worth of stuff. Right now, there's spaces for us to be able to expand our fishing village and in our operation. So it's not very efficient right now. If you did that at the beginning of the game, and you can see down here actually that there is a 1 white die on the board. So that's a good example. I could actually draft that die and play it. So if I did that, I would be able to take a fishing action, and then moving down the column, I would produce 1 wheat. Okay, not a bad first turn, right? Draft a die, execute from top to bottom. If I drafted an orange die, I would then, let's say I drafted this right here, this orange 5, right? I would produce 1 wheat, and then I would produce a paper. And those would be things that I could, put in my storehouse and use as resources to spend towards other things. The thing about dice and the mechanics is that the last building that they stop on to produce is where the dice stops. So it actually sits on this space. If I were to play this orange 5, it would stop here and it would sit on this space. If I later had a bunch of actions in this 4 column, I would have to skip over this space because it's already being occupied by a die that I used in a previous action. Until the end of the round, then all the dice come off. So you have to be careful about like where the dice stops and whether you want to re-trigger that space or not, and be thoughtful about how you organize your expansion of your pier to take advantage of that. So there's some dice placement, dice worker placement going on here. You can also take actions to build things and so on. So we'll get into the details, but you're drafting dice. That lets you execute rows and columns. You have little workers, little fisherman workers that let you just do a one-off. Let's say I just wanted to take that and produce 1 wood. Could totally do that. Of course, like anything else, if you then draft the die later in the same round and you got a fisherman on there, you're not going to get another wood because he's busy making wood for you, right? So you've got some of that kind of order of operations to think about. You don't want to like do things in the wrong order, just like any other good production game, right? So that's player board. This is production. This is storage. This is these green right here. We're going to be amassing orders in these different piers. And then every time we get to do certain things at the end of a round, you will be able to multiply that by the number of different orders we've done in that way, in that space in the past. So essentially we get better at doing certain things the more we do them, right? We have experience doing them. Fishing, very simple, right? You just take your little boat, and I'll move my my player board so you can see that. You take your little boat right here. Make sure that it worked. It worked, good. Okay, you take your little player boat here, and then you just go up the fjord. And let's say I stopped here, I draw a tile, I would see what it is, it would go in my personal boat. And then let's say I kept on fishing later, I draw another tile from the next section, cool. And then later I would do the same thing. I'd keep on trucking up this path and then I'd keep going. Now let's say I filled my boat up Well, I don't want to keep fishing. I got no place to put it. I just have to throw out something to keep storing stuff. That's kind of a waste. So let's say I ended up here with a full boat. Okay, it's time to return home. Well, I'm in this section right here. You can see by these little action point symbols. So when I return home, I will get this many victory points for being out. Now, I can upgrade my boat, get more storage. And if I do, that means I can stay out longer. So instead of coming home, let's say I have an upgraded boat where I can store more stuff, I'd end up here. And if I came home now, I'd get 4 victory points. So it rewards you for growing your fleet, for improving your infrastructure such that you can do more fishing on one trip. But at the beginning, we just stay. We're out here in the harbor. We haven't done any fishing yet. But that's kind of, in a nutshell, how fishing works. And then, of course, your boat is emptied when you come back to the harbor, and you get your stuff, and you put that into your storehouses, and you use that for further improvements. So, Saltfjord. I haven't talked about technology yet, but I will. I haven't talked about my starting loadout, and I will be doing that shortly. But before I get into that, let me just quickly just take you through the little blurb, because I think it sets the table nicely. So in Saltfjord, the generations before you have relied on harvesting the oceans. But as the 19th century ends, change and opportunity reach your fishing village in northern Norway. In Saltfjord, you must decide if you will expand your settlement with new buildings, send your boat to collect fish, engage in trade, or pioneer new technologies to make everyday life easier. How will you shape the destiny of your village? In Saltfjord, players face the constant dilemma of whether to expand their village or activate the buildings they already have. Players can complete trade orders for future benefits, develop technologies to access special abilities, use dice to activate their buildings, or increase their production by constructing new buildings. The player with the most points after 3 rounds wins the game. Of course, I'm playing a solo game, so it's just me trying to beat. I think it is it. Is it? Yeah. There are achievements, level 1 through level 5. Okay. So, yes, so that is essentially Saltfjord. Now, let's talk about, I haven't finished setup. What ends up happening is you shuffle everything out. Every space on the board has a number on it, and it tells you how many tiles are supposed to go there. So you don't have to guess. You don't know. You don't have to like count on a certain number of tiles or anything. You just shuffle them up, and it says, okay, put 11 of these here, put 6 of those there, put 7 of those there. You just follow the rules and lay them all out. Done. Shuffle them up, put them out. Done. Doesn't take that long. I've played games with lots of little tiles in it before, and I haven't played them very many times because the setup is so painstaking in those other games. This is not one of those. The reason why the painstaking tile setups, the reason why they're painstaking is because in those other games, and I'm looking at you, Uwe Rosenberg, is that they are, they have like very specific names, and they go in very specific places. So you have to like get the stack of tiles and go, okay, this one is, blue, and it go, let's find the little blue spot. Okay, now it's blue. Now which row and column does this tile with this name go on, right? And you're doing that like 50 times, and then there's maybe stacks of them. So, oh man, like setting up Caverna for the first time, and I was a pretty, I played a lot of board games at the time I played Caverna. It took me like 45 minutes just to set the game off. Like, this is not that. This is just, because every tile you'll notice is a little different shaped. Like these are 1x3s, so there's only one place on the whole board those can go. These are little Tetris corner pieces. There's only one place in the world those can go, right? So and everything is kind of like that. They're all color coded. They're all numbered. It's very easy to do. So that's just a note on setup. Okay, so now let's talk about my initial decision. What do I need to do? Well, and I can't figure out a good place to put these that doesn't block something, so I'll probably just bring them back and show you at some point. I have 2. Let me put them here for now. I'll just put them out on the board. So, and I won't keep them here because it doesn't work here. But I have 2 tiles. One of them says, for every large building, and large buildings are these up here. These are the big ones. These 3 They have 3 spaces on them versus these are small buildings that only have 2 or 1 space on them. So large buildings up here, for every one of those I manage to get built during the game, I will earn 3 victory points. In addition to any other victory points the buildings themselves may add, my objective is to make as many of those as I can, because I will get 3 extra victory points for every large building. That's one. Over here is, these are called boardwalk spaces. So on the player board, if we look at our player board, on the player board, you have spaces where there are buildings, which are these colored buildings, these reds or yellows and so on. Those are buildings that do things for us, that let us take actions. But then there are spaces in between that will just have little symbols on them, like a fish or a victory point or a grain or a gold. And that they won't be in buildings. They'll just be like sitting on the dock. And those, you get to activate those anytime you completely fill an entire column or an entire row. So you're kind of saying, you're kind of like, I'm building this up, and then I get this one little benefit after I complete a row or a column. This one says for every fish icon on a boardwalk space anywhere on my player board, I will get 2 victory points. And there are some tiles that even let you have more than 1 fish per boardwalk location. So it might be 1 square that has 2 fish on it. Well, that'll be 4 victory points just for that 1 square. So I'm going to be hunting for large buildings with that little fish icon on them whenever I can. I have to balance that. I have to be careful to not overdo it and then, slow down my evolution in some other way. But to the extent that I can prioritize building little boardwalk spaces with fishes on them, I'm going to do that. So those are my 2 end game scoring conditions that are unique to me. If we were playing this multiplayer, every player would have their own set. So on my player board right now, I have my 4 starting loadouts that I get to choose from. And every loadout comes with a small building, a special ability, and some starting resources. And these aren't going to stay here, which is why I didn't feature them on the camera much. I'm just going to describe what they are, right? This one gives you a load of fish, gives you like 3 fish to start with. By the way, fish resources are the lowest tier of the resource, but you can upgrade them along the way, and you eventually trade them for better and better goods, and you might end up with gold at the end. There is a down conversion. Gold essentially becomes a wild resource that can be converted down into anything you need it to be. So this starting loadout just gives me 1 wheat, 3 fish, and some paper. This building, by the way, these were all randomized. This building gives me 2 fish on the boardwalk, which again, that's 4 victory points just by picking this loadout, right? At the end of the game. And then a building that produces paper. Okay. This special ability says, hey, anytime you draft an orange die, you don't just have to use it for a row. You could use it to run a column instead, and vice versa. So every time you draft a white die, you could use it to run a row on your player board, not just a column. So this lets these dice be interchangeable, super valuable, and very flexible. So this is a really good loadout. But it doesn't talk directly to building big buildings. It doesn't talk directly to using fish or even producing fish. It just produces, the building you get only just produces paper. So what paper is used in advancing your technologies, which is a good thing, and we're definitely going to be doing some of that. But it doesn't actually help us towards building our big buildings or creating more or getting buildings built, because it doesn't even let us create wood, which we need to build buildings. So it's a good thing for flexibility, but it's a bad thing for like getting us off the ground fast. So this loadout here, 2 wood and a paper is our starting resources. This building produces wood, so we might be able to use that to build buildings faster. And this boardwalk space just has a wheat on it. This special ability says, and I have it right here, it says, oh, remember how I told you as we run dice on our player board, the last die in its movement is where it stops moving and it just sits there. This one, once per round, this particular activity here, this special ability, once per round, we can flip this over and discard 3 of those parked dice, freeing up those space for further actions. So that's really powerful. This one is a wood, 2 fish, and a fishing action. So I get to go fishing like right away if I took this one. But before the game even began, I'd go fishing once. This one produces wheat and scores 2 victory points at the end of the game. Or actually, not even at the end of the game. It scores 2 victory points when you complete that row or column that it's in. And then this one, whenever time you use a fishing worker, one of your little fisherman worker, and you take one of these locations here, you have them work one of these, instead of making the choice between building and doing a technological advancement, or building and shipping an order, or shipping an order and doing a technological upgrade, this special ability lets you do both of those things. So I would put this here and then execute both of them. So everybody else, they have to make a decision and then do one of those things. Okay, then the last loadout is a wheat, a fish, and a gold. Again, gold being a wild resource, that's cool. And then the small building is a gold. So when I complete that column or row, I will get another gold. So I'm already like setting myself up to have more wild resources. And then this building is a special icon that lets you say, you do a free upgrade or a free trade between like a lower level, basically moving a lower level resource to a higher level resource. So if I had a wood, I could upgrade that to a plank. If I had a plank, I could upgrade that to a gold. And that every time I activate this building, it would let me do that for free. And then this special ability is you can spend a fish to, let's see. Oh, right. That's right. To orthogonally activate another building when you use a little fisherman meeple. So these guys, these little fisherman workers, we're going to be able to get 2 more of these, by the way, throughout the game if I play our tiles right here. But let's say that for the sake of argument, we had built a building right next to this location. I could, if I wanted to, put my worker here and say I'm going to do a goods upgrade, and then I could elect to also trigger this building that I had built orthogonally adjacent to this location. You'll notice on the player board, there are no orthogonally adjacent buildings at the beginning of the game. So we'd have to build something for that to work. But that special ability would let me trigger multiple buildings anytime I use a fisherman, which you use fishermen every round. And if you have more fishermen, it means you get to do that more times. So this could really pay off for you quite a few times if you play your cards right there. So it's a tough call. I think for the sake of flexibility, I'm inclined to take this, let me use the dice in either rows or columns, because it's going to give me a lot of flexibility in a game I don't know very well. So I think it makes sense to do that, at least for now. I'm really tempted, though, to take this other loadout that gives me a gold right away, because it gives me the flexibility to convert things really, really quickly and produce gold. But I don't really, I mean, upgrading goods is good, but I want to produce more goods. So this building is not something I really want to prioritize early game. And maybe that's bad. I don't know. I haven't played this game before, so we'll find out. I have played Santa Maria. Santa Maria, my memory of it, is there's a little less going on in that game. This game, they've bolted on a few extras. So I have to kind of like play this for its own sake and not try to predict based on what I remember about Santa Maria. So this is good because it gives me gold starting out, but it only gives me 1 fish. But I could upgrade goods a little easier because I'm getting another upgrade spot right out of the gate. I'm inclined to go here, even though it doesn't help me build right this second, just because I really want this power, and it does give me 2 fish, which if you're just joining me, one of my end game objectives is getting a lot of fish icons on my boardwalk spaces. So this helps me do that, and it's 4 victory points. So let's just stop beating around the bush on this, and let's just make that call. That's the decision we're going to go, because we got to get to playing, y'all. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go that way. I'm just going to clear these out of the way here. And okay, so starting resources. First things first, let's get those on the board. We are going to get 3 fish. Wow, cool. 3 fish and a wheat and a paper. Okay, so those are our starting resources. Off that goes. Now, this is our special ability. I'll put this here for now. I'll probably just put it up here. And I might get more special abilities. I'll figure out where to stick them. But for now, that's the direction we're going to go with that. We'll put that there for now just to remind myself that I get to do that. And now we just got to figure out where to put this building. Now, I will double check, but I'm nearly certain I can rotate tiles. I don't have to leave them vertical or horizontal, but I'm nearly certain I can just decide where I want to go. So let's say I did that, right? If I triggered the 4 column, I'd produce 2 paper, 1, 1, right? If I did this, I would take one of these 2 actions and then I would produce a paper. I could go up here, produce paper, then do one of those 2 goods. Probably better, because then one of these, I would have the paper to presumably do one of those actions. So I don't know. What do I want to do with this? Do I want to double up on paper? Well, I don't want to necessarily block off my ability to build large buildings, because this is a long open space right here. So maybe it's better to put it down here where it's at the end. But, you know, big buildings can be corner buildings too. So it's really up to me where I want to put this. It's not really going to get in my way much at all, at least not right away. Everything has, let's see, this column has 2 things, this column has 2 things, this column has 1 thing, 1 thing, 1 thing, and 1 thing. So the outer columns have 2 items. And now if I look horizontally, this row has 2 things, this row has 2 things, and everything else has 1 thing. Okay. So if that's the case, maybe I want to bolster the middle a little bit here. Maybe do something. I'm trying to figure out ways to like balance this out so that I can get more 2 actions early in the game. If that makes any sense. Here's the thing though, the starting tile, it must go in one of these 4 places. I just remembered that. I'm glad I remembered. The starting building must be in the center somewhere. So, double up paper, maybe. Go that way. That doesn't suck, at least not for now. Because I could go wood, paper for the column, and then paper, and then possibly a tech advancement on the horizontal. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Let's go with that. Why not? Sure. Great. Okay, so then a reminder, my special ability is I get flexibility in how I get to use my dice, right? So now I'm just going to very briefly double check, because I've not played this game. So again, this is my MO. I tend to like to step through things just like any other normal player would and not be a super expert when I stream, because I want you to understand what you're likely going to encounter when you try to play the game. So I'm just going to very quickly triple check that every round what's going to happen is I'm going to draft dice, or I'm going to take certain actions on my player board, and then at some point I have to retire for the round. And then we're going to do that again 2 more times, and then the game's going to be over. What I'm trying to look up for right now is how many times do I take a die or take an action before I'm forced to retire. I know that, okay, each round you may never take more than 3 white dice. All right, well, if we look on the board, let me take my player board off. If we look at the main board, down here in the village are little village locations. And we're going to be able to visit these locations when we retire for the round. But when the solo game, you can only visit village locations that no longer have any dice on them. So you taking dice and taking them for your actions kind of unlocks them as retirement buildings that you can choose to visit at the end of the round. So you have to be a little bit choosy. What do you think you're going to want to do at the end of the round? Well, you better unlock the right building, or that building's not going to be choosable for you. So you're going to be kind of like strategizing a little bit as you go. So, but anyway, throughout the game, throughout every round, I can only take a total of 3 white dice. There are 4 on the table, so I'm going to have to leave 1 every round. And then each round, you can only take as many orange dice as it is the round of the game. So right now there are 2 orange dice on the table, and I can only draft 1 of them because it's the first round. Later, we will add more orange dice, and then we'll be able to take more orange dice in the second and third rounds. Okay. Dice manipulation. Talked about that before. How are we manipulating dice? Let's say I get a bunch of terrible rolls, but I really want to activate certain rows or certain columns on my board. I can spend 1 fish, to change the pip value up and down 1. So the more fish I generate, the more flexibility I have in running my village, because I'm a fishing village. Okay. When taking a die, instead of activating buildings, you may discard the die to gain 1 fish. Obviously, you probably don't want to do that unless you have to, but it's a good way to just get yourself out of a jam if you have no other choice. Yeah, okay, so we did that, right, did all of that. We talked about that. Take a die, build a large building, or and then retire. Okay. So we can activate buildings. We'll talk about activating buildings when we get there. Building buildings. Right. So do we at some point, oh, there's retirement. Hold on, let me get to retirement. There it is. Move your marker, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Okay. Yep. Okay. Now, turn structure. Game is played over 3 rounds. Starting player takes the first turn. Then the players continue taking turns clockwise to allow players to retire, withdrawing from the round. Okay. You must perform one of the following 3 actions. You must either take a die, which there's a certain limited number of those I can take, build a big building, or retire. And I believe I can only build 1 building. Make sure. Yeah, I think it's only one big building. Now, there's different actions for different types of buildings. I can build a small building, or I can build a big building. A small building is 1 hammer, and a big building is 2 hammers. You can't see that because I have my player board turned off. So this is an example of 1 hammer, and this is this big hammer, big 2 hammer option. So I can't just decide to build a big building. I have to take an action that lets me build a big building. Okay, so I don't think I can build more than 3 big buildings. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Unless it's just you can choose to, that's what it is. You can build multiple buildings because you choose when you retire. So I can take all the dice I want, produce a bunch of goods, and then if I have a bunch, I can just keep taking the B action over and over and over again to keep building buildings. And then eventually I'm going to retire. Okay, good. All right, good. I'm clear. You're clear. I'm clear. All right. Oh, hey, welcome in. Yeah, yes, it does. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm catching up. I didn't catch any of that. But yes, correct. Thank you. Thank you, NetGod, for representing me well in chat. Okay. So this is a lovely version of Santa Maria with extras bolted onto it that doesn't have the problematic issues. So, and Puerto Rico, I know, same thing. And I probably stupidly backed that game anyway. I was really hoping that they toned it down in the upgraded version. We'll see. We'll see how much they have. Fingers crossed, because I really want to love it and I really want to play it. I'm really hoping that they treat it better than its predecessor, the preceding version. Okay, let's figure it out here. Let's take our first action. Now, to decide that, we've got a bunch of locations. Let's decide what we want to do. If I retire to this building, then I will be able to ship an order, which are these over here. Good, they earn victory points. They let us get more done when we retire at the end of the round. Cool. This, let's just do a technological advancement, assuming we can pay for it. But we might spend a bunch of time doing some things, knowing that we're going to be able to go here, and we might leave the resource that we need in order to conduct that upgrade on the in the building and ready to go. Right. This one, if we clear both of these dice, let's just build a small building. It might even, I think this might even be build a single tile, one of the little ones buildings. Let me just double check that because I think it's going to happen. Ooh, what happened? Hey, Opa! Thank you for the gifted sub. All right. Hey, it sounds like my alerts are finally working. Cool. Retirement. Where is my retirement? By the way, this book is not very big. It's actually really easy to, yes, build a 1 square building for free. Ooh, cool. Nice. All right. All right. So this one lets me build a small building at no cost. That's great. That could, if it's a fish, that could be really advantageous for me because that's one of my end game abilities. And then this location here is take 2 fishing actions. So right in a row, just fish twice. So I might not fish much at all during my round and then just go here at the end and fish twice. Okay, so what do I want to do? I think I'm either going to want to do a technological advancement or go fishing, I think. For this first round, those are probably the 2 that I want to do. Now, that will mean that I definitely want to take this 1. Okay. I have fish. I start out with 3 fish, so I have some flexibility to change my dice values if I want to. But what I want to do is try to set myself up to build at least 1 large building this round. To build a large building, you need not just logs, but you need planks. You need both of them. So I need to upgrade this twice. If I were just to pay for the upgrades myself during taking an upgrade action, I would have to pay 2 fish to produce 1 thing, right? You can't see that. So if I'm here on this board, I got 3 fish. I would spend 2 of them to create 1 log, and then I'd still have to somehow figure out how to get a plank built. So I have to, it may be better to try to get some gold. Like, for instance, I could try to do this technological advancement, and if I get this technological advancement done, I get a gold. That might be a way to get my plank, because gold, again, reminder, is a wild resource. So I could down convert this gold into the plank that I need for the first round to get a big building built first round. And it would only cost me a fish and the ability, and I'd have to trigger this technological upgrade action, but that's it. And if I did that, I would be 1 technological upgrade away from getting another sailor meeple. That would be my first of 3 that I could possibly unlock. I'd have to spend 2 fish for that one, but I could do it. That's interesting. So if we want to, I'm thinking maybe we could take this retirement village action here when we retire for the round and do the second upgrade. And then if I do that second upgrade, then I would get my fish. So I'd get a gold and 2 fish in 1 round. Interesting. Interesting. Now is probably a good time to talk about what happens when you reach the top of one of these technology tracks. So I've got 4 technology tracks, and we pay certain things, we gain certain things, we pay certain things, we gain certain things. There are certain items we get that have an infinity symbol on the top of them. Those are special actions, so special things that we get to do because we spent the time to innovate. For example, I can go fishing at deeper locations because I've innovated my boat. And then later, if I get better at fishing and I've upgraded my stuff even more, I can go even deeper and do deep sea fishing. And these are only possible if I spend the time and the resources to do them. So the further up you go, you get goods, you get better abilities, you get fisherman icons, and then at the end of every one of these tracks, you also get another end game scoring capability. These are, for this game, every shipment in your middle two piers. So the pier, again, there are 4 piers on your player board. This is the middle two here. For every time you ship a good that goes out, a shipment goes out on these 2 piers in the middle, every one of those will earn 2 victory points. So if I had 3 on each, then it would be 12 victory points, right? So 3 per times 2. So I would need to unlock this entire technological chain in order to get to this endgame scoring tile. This one says for every lobster that you have fished, and lobsters are possibly out in the water here if we can draw them. Every lobster that you fish is 2 victory points at the end of the game. So you're just going fishing, hoping for lobster. Here, I'd have to double check it, but I'm pretty sure that is, actually, I want to know for sure. That is 4 points for each of your technology markers positioned on level 2 and 3. So this is level 1, these is 2 and 3, right? So for every marker that I have up in these areas, I will get 4 victory points. So if I do nothing but get all 4 of my markers up here, then it's 4 times 4, 16 victory points. This one is for every fishing token of any color, any depth, throughout at the end of your game, 1 victory point each. So these two would actually be really synergistic, right? You're hunting for lobster anyway, which means you're going to go fishing a lot, and every single attempt earns you a victory point. Not a bad strategy. Plus, if you manage to get this one, then at least 2 of those markers would earn you 4 victory points apiece because they'd be up at the top. So playing this level here is playing this technology track advancement thing is quite lucrative. So too then is shipping and upgrading buildings and all of that. So, okay, enough talk. What decision are we going to make? I think we are going to run a technological upgrade. And to do that, I need to probably spend a fish, which I don't want to do, but it is what it is. Huh. This looks like I can actually... Yeah. Okay. I can create fish with some of my other goods if I need to. So that's not a bad thing. Okay. Well, what I'm looking at is I'm looking at the player board and I'm staring at my chart saying, what do I want to do here? This is my kind of fishing village, right? I could play it. I could take this 4 out on the board and turn it into a 3. And if I do that, then I run it as a 3, but I'd have to spend a fish to make that conversion because it's a 4 and I'd be doing a -1 down to a 3. Spend a fish to do that. Paper and a technological advancement. Let's do that. Let's just try it and we'll see. Do I do that though? Because hold on, what I want to do next is get a wood. And so I would need a 3. I don't have a 3 out on the board. Do I have a 2? No, but I have a 1. So I'm spending another fish. That's a bummer. But I would get to do an upgrade, which I could then convert into... Okay. All right. Hey, why not? Let's see how far we get. There's only so far I can play chess on a game I've never played. So we're gonna spend a fish, and we're gonna convert this 4. And I did that. So I pulled the 4 off of this spot, and because I have this ability that lets me use a white die as an orange die and vice versa, I'm gonna spend this as a 3. So this 4 is going to be run as a 3. So I'm going to just down convert it. It is now a 3, and I'm going to run it to this box first. This is our first building in our village, and it produces a paper for me. So this becomes a paper. That's not paper. And now this die continues to move, and it moves to the next building, which is here. I now have a choice to make. Do I want to build a small building? I don't have the wood to do that, or I would say yes. Or do I want to do a tech advancement? I want to do a tech advancement. So I'm going to look out on the main board, and I'm going to try to move. I'm going to go up 1 here. This costs a fish, so I will spend a fish to do that, and I gain it, and I gain a gold. So I basically just converted a fish into a gold. Nice. Okay, that was 1. Now what do I want to do? Well, I want more fish. So let's run this 2. Sorry, let's run this 1 orange as a 2, and I'll spend a fish to do it. So this one becomes a 2. So we'll just move that to a 2. And now this will run here. I get 1 wood at long last. I get some wood. And now it keeps moving. This lets me perform an upgrade for free. Well, I think I'm going to upgrade this wheat to a bag of wheat. Okay. So that's that. I don't know why I wouldn't always pull all maximum dice and run as many as I could. So let's do it. Let's take this white 1. We're just going to run it as a white 1. And the first thing it lets us do is a fishing action. So back on the main board, we take our boat and we go out into the harbor. So now we're out in the harbor, and we only have a basic boat, so we can only fish from the shallowest water. Let's figure out what we got. A lobster. Very cool. Okay, so lobster goes on the boat. This boat's just sitting out here. This isn't normally where it lives, but it's easier for me to put it here and have it all condensed on camera so you can see it. So right now my boat holds 3 spaces, can hold 3 things. But if I upgrade the boat later, I can get 4 spaces and some victory points if I play my cards right. So, but as it is, I start with a basic boat. So I have 1 lobster. Okay, and now that's it though. No, I'm running it vertically, aren't I? I'm running it as a column. So it continues down here, and this location is 1 wheat. So I get my wheat back. Nice. So just like that, at the end of everything, I have still 1 more die to run. So it's not everything, I guess, but I have 2 paper. I have a wheat, a bag of wheat, a gold, and 1 log. Now to build a big building, I'm going to need a plank, but I think I'm going to use my gold to make that happen. So I still have 1 more die to run. It's got to be a white die. It's either going to be a 5 or a 6. And that means on my player board, I can either run it here or here. Well, if I run it here, I don't get to take this action because I've already put a die. The die ended its action there, and it blocks that space. So I'd only be able to get a paper. If I run it as a 6, I would ship a good, presuming I can, or I would take another upgrade action. I don't have any fish, so I'd have to convert something into fish first to let me do that. But maybe I want to. I would get my first fisherman upgrade right away. And it will be worth 4 victory points at the end of the game. That's not a bad thing. Maybe that makes sense. Let me, it says that there, let's see, free action, pay 1 resource to gain the fish indicated to the right of the story. Okay, cool, I am right. All right, so on the player board, on each of these little tiers of my storage here, it has a certain number of fish on it. So I was assuming that if I, as a free action, can I convert my goods into fish? And I can. And the higher the quality of the good, the more fish it converts into. So you're selling it essentially. So I'm going to take this white 6, and because I have this special ability, I'm going to use it. It doesn't really matter. I can run it as a column too, right? So I'm going to run it as a white 6, and I skip over this building because it's already got a die in it, unfortunately. But I do get to take this last action, which is a technology upgrade. So I'm going to take this bag of wheat, and I am going to convert it into 2 fish. So now I have 2 fish, and that's the cost I need to pay on the technology tree to get to this next space of innovation. So I move now up here, I spend my 2 fish, and I get my second fishing guy. Okay, now, is it free action to use free action? How do I use fisherman? Do fishermen let me go for free or not? That is a good question. Fisherman. Let's find the answer. Where are you, fisherman? Aha. Use a worker. Using a worker is a free action. Yes, very good. Okay, so I have 2 workers. I've taken all the dice, but I have an extra worker, and I have 2 of them. So, and I have some spaces. I definitely want more wood. So, let us go here, and we will get 1 wood. Now with our last guy, I think we go fishing again. Paper, by the way, converts up into books. And with books, lets you upgrade to the next tier of innovation. So I turn that back off. What did he say? So I don't even know what you were confused about. Let's take a look. Converting fish into gold. Yes, I know, right? You're selling it, right? Come on. How many victory points would the large building get you versus 4 victory points for the second sailor? So that is a good question. A large building on its own, it has certain victory points on them, and some of them don't have victory points on them at all. The large building gives me 3 victory points because of my ability, though. So some of them combined might be 5 victory points, 4 victory points. The second sailor gives me 4 victory points just because I'm at that level of the tech tree. So that's one thing to think about, but it does give me additional free actions for the rest of the game. So getting them early gives you a bunch of reactions before the game's over. So some flexibility. I'm choosing to basically earn maybe 1 fewer victory points, but instead getting access to more free actions as early as I can. That's the trade-off. We'll see if it works. Yes. And thanks for the heads up, by the way. Right. Okay, so I could produce more paper. Paper helps me produce more books. Books let me get the highest tier upgrade done. You have to have at least 1 book to do that. So producing paper is not bad. I think I'm going to end up producing paper anyway because they're in the center of my board, which probably means I'm going to end up running them more regularly. So, maybe we fish again. I don't know. So here's the other thing to think about is if we look at the upgrade spaces, one of the upgrade columns requires paper to do anything. So maybe producing paper is a good thing because this first stop on the tree lets me draw 2 fishing tiles and pick 1 for the rest of the game. So I basically get to throw back stuff I don't want. Then this stop lets me fish deeper. This spot lets me fish deeper. And then every fishing lets me earn victory points. So paper is what I'm getting at. Paper is a good thing to produce. Maybe I just invest in my future. Maybe I produce some paper so that I can produce a book, so that I'm in a position to run that upgrade track. Or I could ship it. Ship it good. Because this is one of the starting shipments you can do. I think that's how shipments work. Let's read up on shipments and why that's important. Because I think, yes. Okay, where is it? Where is it? Give it to me. Taking a die. Resource management. We love a good resource management game. Where are you? Completing an order. Pay the resources shown on one of the 4 face-up crate tiles. Take the tile and place it face down next to the slot to the right of the pier of your storage that matches this crate. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Great. Right. Right. I see. And then when we retire, what happens with those piers? Then activate each pier of your storage board from top to bottom. For each crate tile outside of a pier, you may take the reward of that pier. Ooh, boy. Okay, maybe we ship some paper. How do we ship some paper? How we do this? Oh, I see how we do this. Okay, player board. This action is a split action. I can either build a small building or ship a shipment. Let's ship a shipment. We have some spare paper. Let's do that. So we're going to put our fisherman on that. We're going to ship some paper. So if we look out on the main board, we have our shipments, and one of them requires 1 paper and will earn me 1 victory point at the end of the game. And, well, one step at a time. Let's ship this paper. We know we want to ship this paper, so we're going to ship it. So now we look at the symbol on the stack next to it. This is the upgrade good symbol. And we look at the piers on our player board, and we see that we have the same 4 in the same order as what was on the main board. This is the symbol that was corresponding with the column where this shipment was located. So this goes here. And what we do is we just simply flip it over, and it is a shipped good, and it is 1 more pier space. So what we're doing is we're building 4 piers piece by piece here. And we now have shipped 1 good in this row, this pier. We'll talk about what that is actually right now, because we're going to move into the next few phases of the round, and then the round will be over. So I've taken every action I can take. I have taken 3 white dice, which is the maximum. I've taken 1 orange die, which is the maximum for round 1. And I have unlocked 3 of the 5 buildings that I can choose to retire to for the round. But there's one last thing I can do. And that is I can build a big building if I want to. Probably multiple of them if I had the resources, but I don't. I have the resources for 1. So we're going to build a big building. That is one action we can take on our player board instead of taking dice. So that's what we're going to do. We now have a bunch of resources. Let's do that. So this is the action I'm taking, which is build a big building. Now let's take a look at building a big building. Let's pull in, let's see here. We're gonna do what? We're gonna do what? We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. And then we're going to, yes. Okay, sorry, I am rejiggering some stuff on the fly here. Good, and we're gonna come down here. Okay. Okay, so this is our building choice situation. These are our large buildings. This section up here is our large buildings currently on offer. I can build any one of these. But in the solo game, the choice that we make here is for each type of building. So this is that corner building, and this is the long building. Let's say that I chose to build this building. in the solo game, you discard the building choice you did not take of that shape. So if I chose to build this building, I would discard this one. Remember, since I'm here and we're zoomed in, I'll show you this is one of my victory conditions. Well, not victory conditions. It is one of my ways to score points. And I'm nearly certain I'm remembering that in order to consider it a victory in the solo game, you have to score at least 10 points in each of your 2 drawn tiles. So it behooves me to do this. So I think I want to take this tile because I will have 2 fish icons on a boardwalk space. So that's going to end up being 4 victory points at the end of the game. It produces paper, but it does also give me another technology upgrade action for the rest of the game that I can take. This just flat out produces 2 fish. It's worth 1 victory point if I complete that column or row. And then this just produces a book straight out. So like this is super powerful just from a flexibility perspective. But because there's only 3 rounds, I think I better build this one because I need to be able to score points in that. So we're going to discard this as much as it pains me. So that's that. Now we got to figure out where we're going to put this building. So now we're going to come back here and then we're going to turn that back on. Okay, now where are we going to put this thing? Well, let's put it somewhere that needs the help. I think maybe we do something. This would put 3 actions in that row, 3 actions in that, that column and row. Could do that. But I don't know that I really want to rely on running 1s. I could put it in the middle of the board and do 2, 3, 4, have that be powerful, but then I'm running 2 paper. I'd like to diversify a little bit more. I could do that, and that would be like ship a thing, do an upgrade, and then get paper. That seems out of order. So I don't know that I really want to do that. I could go this way. Ship an order, then do an upgrade. I'd have to have a bunch of resources before I ran that, though. I'd like to put... what's this? This is upgraded good? What if we did something like this? Then it would become... Yeah, I would have this... I could go up here, I guess. I was thinking if we ran this as a 2, then you would get a log, a paper, and do a good upgrade in 1 turn on a 2. So that makes the 2 row pretty powerful. Or at least potentially. But it makes the 4 row a little less useful. I don't know. That's not bad, though, is it? The way I've got that set up? Yes, I know. I finally fixed it. Isn't that fun? I could make a white 1 pretty powerful. Instead of putting it here, I could run it here. And then I would still get paper, wood, and that. And then I would still get the conversion there, but I would also get a bunch of... Let's do that. That's the obvious choice. Then I would have a fishing action, a paper, an upgrade, and a wheat if I run a white 1. Yeah, yep, we're going to go with that. Okay. Okay. So now I've done everything I can do. I have drafted all my dice and used those dice. I have used all my fishermen. I have built a big building, which maybe I should have waited to do a big fisherman to done my fishermen to build those to build the big building. Whew. Lesson learned for next round and beyond. So I think that's it. Now we retire. Okay, so now let's look at retiring. That's down here. I can either take a fishing action, do another upgrade, or ship another shipment. Now, here's why I might want to consider shipping another shipment. Because I get to execute these special actions one time for every shipment that I have in that action type. And I do that at the end of every round during the retirement step. So the more shipments I have achieved, the more end round stuff I get to do. So I could do a bunch of goods conversion if I just keep shipping. Oh, by the way, I never upgraded. I never saw what that is. Okay, well, I can't ship paper again because there's not an order for paper out there. The orders currently are 2 fish, a wheat, a book, which we don't have, but we could make, and a log, which we do have. But this building lets you convert goods into victory points, and I don't have a ton of these particular victory point types right now. So I don't know that I want to ship logs, plus I want to build buildings. Oh, by the way, I need to spend the stuff that I used to build that big building. I never spent it, so now I've spent it. So I think we could either ship this wheat, which would get us a victory point and a fish. Not a bad thing. We could, that's probably the thing to do. Or we could not do a shipment. We could leave it where it is, and then I could upgrade these 2 paper into a book and be prepared to do my final upgrade for my last fisherman right away. That might be something to do. So maybe we don't ship. Maybe we do the upgrade. We do it now. Maybe we get the last sailor or the last fisherman right now. Let's confirm that the upgrade is indeed something I can do for free. I'm pretty sure I can. Pay 2 fish to upgrade 1 resource. Oh, I have to pay 2 fish to do it. Ugh. Gross. So it isn't just pay 2 of any good, get the next best good. I have to pay 2 fish to do it. Gross. Never mind, can't do it. I mean, I guess I could technically. I could sell these to this wheat and this wood that I've got and make that into fish and then spend them to upgrade the other 2. But man, that's a lot. I'd be fresh out of resources all to get 1 upgrade done. Nah. No, and you know why I'm not going to do that? I think I'm just going to go fishing again. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. But yeah, I think I'm just going to take it as a fishing action, as silly as that is. I guess I should have spent this white 5 and gotten this fishing action opened up, but as it is, I only have to take 1. That's a bummer. Or wait a minute. Why am I focusing so heavily on just this 1 track? Why don't I move up one of these other 2? I could spend the log I have to upgrade my boat and let it store more. I could spend the wheat that I have to get a fish, a log, and a piece of paper. Why I would want to go up to this track is that for the rest of the game, buildings no longer cost logs. They only cost a plank, or they're free in the case of the small buildings. So getting there as fast as possible would be huge. And along the way, I get another player power. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. That's dumb. That's silly. Okay, we're going to take the upgrade. We're going to retire to this little upgrade shack, and that lets us perform one upgrade. We're going to spend this one wooden log we've got, and we're going to go up one space. So on our little shipping ship, we don't lose the goods that are on the boat. They stick around, and we flip it over. Now, this lobster has 1 victory point on it. Any good that occupies this one space on the board has its victory points, if any, multiplied by 2. So we're going to put the one thing we have victory points on right now in that spot, and we'll get twice the victory points for that lobster. And we now hold a 4th good. We don't have to come back home quite so quickly. Not a bad thing. And now we're one step away from getting another player upgrade. We'll talk about that in a moment. Those are up there. And then after that, we'll be really close to getting buildings built for a lot cheaper. All right. I think that takes care of retirement. By the way, I should mention, at the top of the stream, I said a couple things. I said, one, I have come to realize I really appreciate Euro games with no playing cards. I don't know what that is. I think I just have an aversion to decks of cards. I think I've seen it too much. I think every game has a million decks. And I just want to see something different. And I really like a good crunchy Euro that doesn't require playing cards. Don't know what that is. So that's that. And then the other part that I mentioned is, that I didn't mention, that I've come to realize, is that the best solo mode is a solo mode that doesn't have an AI opponent at all. The best solo mode is just you playing the game. And this is one of those. And I believe Santa Maria was too. You don't have an opponent. You don't have logic that it's trying to execute on. You don't have cards you're flipping to decide what's going on. Some of the card flipping stuff in some of the solo AIs can be really compelling and interesting. There's one that, for a game I plan on streaming here soon, that's one of those. But this particular version, I'm not playing it against an opponent, you'll notice. I just have a set of winning conditions that I have to meet, and either I play the game well enough or I don't. Done. Anyway. Okay, so let's see. And shuffling the cards is a pain in the ass. Yes, it is. Or you could just spend the log. Yeah, and I did, I think, didn't I? Spend paper for the fish and discard upgrade. Yeah, could have done that. That's true. That's true. But I think doing what I did was good. Okay. Now, let us see. Right. I believe that is it for the round. Is there anything else that I do before the end of the round? End of the round. When all players have retired, the round ends. That's true. Proceed to final scoring. Oh, if this was the third round. No, it is not the third round. Each player returns their used workers. The dice. Yeah, okay. Players. Oh, if you're playing a multiplayer game, the player whose marker is furthest to the left in the tavern. So I went to the tavern that lets me do an upgrade at the end when I retired. Furthest to the left goes first. So the less fancy the retirement action, the better player order you get. Let's see. Return the player markers back to the town. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Okay, great. Wonderful. Anything else? Let me just make sure that there's end of the round. The round ends, and this is a solo game. When you choose to retire, there will be 1 white die and 1 orange die left. That is true, so I didn't screw that up. That's good. At the end of round 1 and 2, return the top tile from each crate stack to the box. Okay, so because this is a solo game, normally you would be seeing a lot more orders because other players would be taking them. But in the solo game, that is simulated by simply discarding the top tile from every one of these shipment stacks. You can do this without causing chaos. That would be even better. And then we flip these over. So now we have a fresh stack of 4 orders that we can try to fulfill. These are getting expensive already. Holy crap. One of them wants 5 fish for 4 victory points. One of them wants a plank and a log, the same it requires to build a big building, but that's 5 victory points, which, okay, that's essentially analogous to building a big building with victory points on it. One wants gold and paper for 6 victory points. Whoo! Expensive. And then the other one is a wheat and a wood for 3. That's cheap. Wheat and a wood for 3 is not bad. And I'd get a fishing action out of it if I did that. Oh, I missed something. Remember when I said that at the end of the round, when you retire, you get to execute the actions on your piers 1 time for every completed shipment that you have? Well, I get to upgrade 1 good 1 time because I have 1 shipment on this pier with the upgrade symbol on it. I think I'm going to go for a book. Paper to book. I get to do that for free. Don't have to pay the fishies for it. I'm going to make sure that that's what that is. Upgrade. Yep. Uh-huh. I'm nearly certain that's what that says. Yep. Upgrade 1 resource or take 1 fish. That's nice. Okay, great. So I got my upgrade done. Sorry. Okay, moving on. Let's reset. So I did these. I reset those. I think that's all there is for the... And then we add the die. Right. Okay. To win the game in the solo game, you must score at least 10 points for each of your special scoring tiles. Important. Points from your special scoring tiles do not count towards your final score. They're only used as a winning condition. Okay. Understood. So I'm going to lose if I don't get 10 points from each of those tiles. In 2 rounds, by the way. Yikes. Okay. To win the game, perform final scoring as normal and compare your score to the medal table on the right. If my score is below 100 points, I win, but I don't get a medal. To get any kind of a medal, bronze through palladium, bronze, silver, gold, platinum, or palladium, I have to score between 100 and 181 points. Yikes! 180 points, I guess, because you can get palladium with 180 flat. Wow. Message received. I have a long way to go with this game. All right. Okay, so dice come off. Workers come back. Now, what we do on the main board is, can you see that? I think you can see that. Yeah. So you see how there's 2 dice out here on the main board, just north of the player board that you're looking at there. Let's see if you can see it. Yeah, you can, right here. Okay. So this is the second round. So we're going to take this orange die off and add it to the dice pool. And you can see the taverns at the bottom. So I'm not going to bother moving anything. Oh, my guy comes back to the main city. We're going to roll these. Roll them bones. And then we are going to, I'm just going to literally just put them out. I know the placement rules, so I'm just going to, what did I do there? That can't be right. Why do I only have 4 white dice? Oh, because I'm supposed to go this way. Never mind. Okay, that's how it goes. Okay, fine. So the orange always go to the last 3 or last. You start over here and you place them this way. So I just went with how they rolled and just roughly put them in that way. Okay, so these are my choices. I've got 2 4s, a lot of 4s. Yikes. A 1 and a 4, a 1 and a 3, and a 4. Getting this upgrade done is kind of nice. I do have a 1, so maybe I want to run that 1. And I could run it as a 3 that way too. Okay, okay, maybe. I definitely want to run the 1 because I get 4 actions. Run the 1 column here, I get 4 actions. I get to go fishing, produce a paper, do an upgrade if I can afford one, and get a wheat. And I can afford one. I'd get my other fisherman. Let's just start there. Let's get this 1 done. Now, here, I guess the open question is, do I want this building unlocked? But we have time for that. We're going to take this 1. We're going to run it as a 1. And so our first stop is a fishing action. So we will advance to the next fishing location out in the fjord. So here we are. We're out here. And I'm still only dealing with a generic fishing boat. So we're going to take the shallow water and we get a log. We won't get that log right now. We have to return back home, but we fished a log out of the water. Cool. Alrighty. Next move is we'll come down here and we'll get a paper. Okay. Next move is we'll come down here and do an upgrade. We have a book. We have a book on our board because we did that conversion for free when we retired last round. So we're going to spend that book right now. And we are going to upgrade here. And now we get our last fisherman upgrade right away. So now we have 3 of our little fisherman sailor people. And we now have access to this endgame scoring tile. These points do matter for the rest of the game. So for every shipment in my middle 2 piers, each one of those will be 2 victory points at the end of the game. Okay. Okay, now my next stop on the player board, my last stop really, is to produce this 1 food, or 1 wheat. Okay, wheat done. Now, the next die that I want to pull is what? I could run this 3. If I do that, I'd get a paper and either a small building, which also wouldn't suck. It would cost me a wood, though, which I don't have.
What did he say?
What? What did I do? What is the double fish in Orange 3? Right. So the double fish in Orange 3 is a boardwalk space. It's not a building. That is a benefit you gain when you complete a row or a column. So I would gain 2 fish when I build something right here, because this column would then complete. So I'm 1 space away, really, from being able to get this 2 fish. But it's not an action that is activated by a die. Only buildings are activated by a die. Make sense? Yes. Very good. Okay. So, do I want... What I'm thinking about is maybe do I use... Nah, I don't want to do that right now, though. Okay. Part of me is like, do I want to use a fisherman to trigger this and get wood? But if I do that, I can't trigger this again for the rest of the round, because he'll just be parked there making wood the whole time. But I want a wood. That is troublesome. I want a wood because I want to build a small building. And I could run this Orange 4 that way and do an upgrade and a build action in 1 shot if I had the stuff for it. That's frustrating, dude. I could run this 3 as a white 3 because I have my special ability that lets me do it. And then I would run it down to this paper. That might be the thing to do. then I would leave that open again. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to run this 3 as a white 3 because I can. So my first stop on this column is to get a wood. And then my last stop is to get a paper. Yeah. Now I can run this 4 with this white 4. And I have a log to get a special ability upgrade. Oh. Oh, really? I thought I could do that anyway. Is that not a thing I can do? I don't understand. But, all right, let's do this. Let's run this 4 as an... let's run the actual orange 4 so that I can get my fishing boat full up and get it home, hopefully. Maybe. It's my last orange die. Do I want to run it as an orange 4? No, I want to run the white 4 as an orange 4 because I don't want to burn this orange die and I have more flexibility on white dice. And my 4 white column is boring. It's just 1 paper. So it's like the least useful thing I can do right now. So because there's so many 4s, I could do that, I think. Is that the thing to do though? Ooh, maybe. Yeah, okay. We're going to run it as a white 4. We're going to run it as an orange 4, I should say. We're going to use this white die as an orange 4. Okay, so the first step is to do an upgrade. Now, I have a log, so I could come here. You can't see. I have a log, so I could upgrade here, which would get me 4 victory points at the end of the game. And it would also give me a new special ability from one of the 4 that are out here. Not an insignificant thing. Or I could spend one of my wheat and get a fish, a wood, and a paper. Which I think is probably the better move because it would give me another wood that I could then later on another upgrade round get that upgrade done. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spend a wheat and I'm going to go up 1 here. And that gives me a fish, a paper, and a log. Okay. Okay, so now this die keeps moving. And I get to do either a small building or shipment. I don't think I do have enough to take this one. I don't really want to do that one though, because I want to, if I can, ship these middle 2, because then I get points for that. But this would give me a fishing action. Not bad. And 3 victory points for completing it. So that's also not bad. It's also the easiest one to do. I'd rather spend these resources on tech upgrades though. So I think I'm going to build a small building instead. It only takes a log because that's my other choice from this space is building a small building. So let's take another gander at the small buildings. You can kind of see them there. But let's see. Let's go here and then we'll go here. Yeah, okay, good. Cheating way to do it, but it'll work. All right, so small buildings, same deal. If I build one of these teeny ones, then I have to discard the other one. And if I build one of these 2, I have to discard the other one. Well, this gives me another fish icon, which I desperately need to score 10 points in that category. And this gives me another fishing action. I think that's the thing to do. It's just kind of a no-brainer. The other one is ship a shipment, and then the boardwalk is a log, which I would get only if I completed the action. So I think I'm going to take this one, And we're going to discard this one. If I can get it off of the stack without causing a giant mess. There we go. Oh, look at that. Another fishing boardwalk icon. That's good for me. Okay, so now back to this view, back to that, and let's take a look. We could really max this out. We could put this down here, and we would get 2 fishing actions. I am allowed to do that, right? Let's just quadruple check that I'm allowed to rotate them. Because I don't want to build it and just find out I'm not allowed to. Yeah, building a building. Pay 1 wood, place a tile, empty space. You may orient the building tile as you like, but you cannot cover pre-printed buildings or other tiles. Yes, great. Okay, so this is an empty space. I'm allowed to do that. That is a perfectly valid place to build a building. And I did rotate it, and that's okay. So now I have 2 fishing actions in 1 row. I've got like 5 things I can do. This is great. And at the moment, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, so I am now done with one of my 2 scoring tiles. This fish on the boardwalk thing is now like no longer a prerequisite for winning the game. I've taken care of it. Now, when I complete a column, I should have looked at that while I had the page up. There it is. When you completely fill a row or a column with tiles and pre-printed buildings, gain the reward shown on each boardwalk, if any, in that row or column. Well, since we only have 1 boardwalk, I get 2 fish, and that's it. If we had other boardwalk stuff, then we would gain those. But we get 2 fish. Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. Okay, so I think we are done, though, because that's the last space in that row that we were executing. We have done that. Great. We have a load of resources, which is also feeling pretty good. Okay, back to our dice selection decision. I think I have 1 more orange die to pick, and I have 1 more white die to pick. My feeling is I should take this one as the orange die. It's a 4, not a 2. So I can get access to the double fishing action. And I should take this white 4. I might convert their pips and stuff, but yeah. I like it. Now, what am I going to do with them? Well, not much is the answer. I don't really have a whole lot I can do with just a 4. And I've executed a lot of stuff in the center already, so going up and down from a 4 in the row is not super powerful. Everything is only kind of like a single action sort of situation. So what do I do about that? I'm debating. Do I use fisherman now? And I'm trying to decide, can I manage to get something built? I need to get some planks really badly. I could spend 2 of my fish to convert 1 of my logs into planks. And then I could build a big building. And then I could run some dice. Because I can run these in any order. That feels right to me. What would we gain in a large building, functionally, that will help us in the rest of the round? Well, we have build a small building and upgrade a resource, a wood and a wheat. We need another wood spot. We only have one. So this would actually be valuable to have. These are both shipments. Okay, fine. I mean, I have a lot of goods, but these shipments are not easy to get. Hmm. So these are less interesting to me. I like the shape more, though. Because the way the board is kind of structured, it's kind of benefiting you to use the right angle ones. I think I'm going to go with, oof, that's tough. These two are really interesting. This log and a wheat, basic resource is always good to have, useful for upgrading technologies. Or this one is upgrade a good, which is also nice to have because upgrades are otherwise expensive. And produce a small building. I feel like I should go with the produce a small building, but if I do that, I discard the other one, which gives me a log space. And those are hard to come by. Hmm. I don't know. What would we do? Also, when do you get a free resource upgrade in the third pier? Oh yeah, that happens during retirement, which we did at the end of the last round. Do you still have 3 free actions? Yes, I do. I can, but they block those spaces for the rest of the round. So I'm trying not to use them until I have to at the end, because I don't want to like be able to run some location more than once and then come to find out my fisherman is slow and he's in there messing things up. I don't want to do that. So I'm trying my hardest not to use them, at least right now. I will use them at the end of the round, though. You know, getting a free upgrade is pretty good. I have a lot of ability to build a small building, though. There's at least 2 spots on here that let you do that already. One of them, both of them are printed on the board. So that's kind of a waste of a building just to get a free upgrade spot. And I already have an upgrade spot. It is right here. So I'm going to go with this, with the bare resources instead. The wood and the wheat. And we're going to discard this. Ooh, that building produces planks. Oh man, I want to get that one. Okay. Let's see. Where do I want to put this bad boy? I've been debating that too. I could come in somewhere like this and do that, which would be kind of schmexy. Then this would be wood, paper, and then produce and or upgrade. This would be fish and then wheat. This would, of course, be wheat, wood, and then, shipment, which wouldn't suck. That's pretty decent. And then we're only 1 square away from finishing this column. What do we think? We like that? I like that. That seems reasonable, right? I guess the other thing I could do is move it down here, and then it becomes wheat, wood, paper. And then you have like, you know, 2 red actions. So like doing stuff, spending stuff. And then you get a little wood at the end. Fine. I don't know. Yeah. What am I doing there? How am I actually achieving that? What was I doing to get this building done? There was a thing. Oh, yeah. I was going to, I'm as a free action, I can pay 2 fish to upgrade a resource. And that's what I will be doing. I'll be upgrading one of my logs. In fact, let's do that now. 2 fish, 1 plank. So now I guess, do I like that? Do I like that placement? I think I do. I think I do. And it gives me a little bit more juice on this 1. So at least there's a reason to run a 1 orange or horizontal. I don't know. Let me try this out the other way first. Oh, there's another thing I could do. I could go here in some version of that. That would complete this row right now. That row would be done. Then I would get 2 fish and 3 victory points. And we'd give more beef to this 4 than I currently have. That doesn't suck. That doesn't suck. Why don't we just do that? Let's get a row done. I just get my 2 fish back for making that conversion. And I get 3 victory points. So at least I can go up on the freaking track, right? Right here, 3 victory points, 2 fish. Placed. Nice. Okay, then these resources go away for building the building. Now, where are we on building the buildings? We have 2 big buildings. That is 6 points. I need to build 2 more big buildings. Ruh-roh. And how did I build that building? How did I do that? Oh, because I can just take that action. Okay, never mind. Okay, now let's run some more dice. Hey, look at that, a 4. Isn't that funny? We are going to take this white 4. And we're going to, I think we could just run that. Get a wood and a paper. Yeah. We're going to take it as a wood and a paper. Got lots of paper. Now we're going to run this orange 4 here. And we're going to first and foremost take that upgrade action. And we have a wood, a wheat, and paper. So let's take a look, a very close look, at our player power options. Because because we can. Let's go here, and then we'll go here. Okay. All right. So, player, did we see that okay? I think we can see that. No, you can't see that because the player board's in the way. Aha. Okay, now can we see that? I think we can see that pretty decently. Okay. So, this one says, and at any time, as a free action, pay 2 fish to gain 1 grain, 1 wood, and 1 paper. Or, okay, 2 fish and you get 1 of those. That's not a great deal. Unless you're really raking a lot of fish in it. I'm doing okay, but not great. This one is pay a fish to change your chosen die value to any value. Any value. Yeah. So this is no longer up and down 1. This is up and down to anything you want. Spend 1 fish. That's super powerful. Okay. This one, when upgrading, you may upgrade grain, wood, or paper to plank, food, or book. Isn't that always the case? I don't understand. When upgrading, you may upgrade grain, wood, or paper, right, to plank, food, or book. But isn't that always what you do? I don't understand. Did I mess up and have I been doing upgrades wrong this whole time, or what are we doing here? Let's look at that carefully. Make sure to mess that up. Where's my goods upgrades? There we go. Anytime during your turns, even the turn when you retire, you may perform any number of the following free actions in addition to your chosen action. Sell resources, pay 2 fish to upgrade. Pay 2 fish to upgrade any resource. E.g., by using this action, you could pay 2 fish to upgrade a 3rd fish to a wood, grain, or paper. Yeah. David pays 2 fish to upgrade grain to food. I don't understand why this power is interesting. When upgrading, you may upgrade grain. Huh? Okay. That doesn't make any sense to me. If anybody knows, I think they mean you could upgrade wheat to a plank, for example. Oh, that's exactly what they mean. Oh, thank you. Yes, I can cross upgrade. I get it. So I'm no longer constrained. I can do whatever I want. Ooh, that's cool. That's cool. That means this paper production that I've got going on becomes super useful. Or at least a lot more useful, assuming I have the fish to do it. The last one is perhaps very interesting, and that is extra storage on the boat. And not just that, times two victory points for the stuff that's in that slot. That's what this one is. So, do I want to make my boat even bigger? Those are really good player powers. I like the whole spend a fish, turn a die into whatever you want. That's a pretty good power. Thoughts? The goods conversion thing is good, but I have to spend the resources to do a goods conversion in the first place. Yes, that's true. I haven't done a lot of fishing, but that doesn't mean I can't. I have paper, so I can afford as many of the upgrades there as I want. So fishing would be a good way to earn a lot of victory points, potentially. Dice to any, yeah, I think that too. Okay, all right. So I think we're going to do for this first upgrade is, we're here on the player board. So let's come back to the main view. Oop. And so we're back here, player board there. We're in this action. We're deciding what we're going to upgrade. We're going to come here and we're going to do this upgrade here. So we're going to spend the wood log from my resources, and we're going to take the ability. Nice. Okay, good. Next, moving on, player board. So now we have our new player power, more flexibility. this moves over here because this dice is located in that one, so we don't get to do that again. We get a log. Move here, get a wheat. Okay, now we have spent all of our dice. We have built all of our buildings. I could, ooh, that's interesting. Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take one sailor and we're going to come here. We're going to get a wood. And then we are going to spend 2 fish. We're going to upgrade one of them to a plank. And then we're going to build a big building. Yes, because we need to in order to win the game. And I really like this one here that lets me build, gets me just planks straight out. I really like that. Plus it gives me fish as well. This is a really good tile. We're going to go with that one. This one, now we're going to spend the resources. And then do we want to do that here? Do we want to do that here? Do we want to, can we do this anywhere else? we could come down here and finish this row and do orange 6s and let that be the beast that it is. Would also give me 3s and 5s would be particularly good as well to do it that way. You get 2 fish just for finishing that row. Do I like it that way? Do I like it the other way? I think I like it the other way. I think I like it this way. Here's why. Because I can, 3s would have a wood, a paper, and a plank in one shot. And a 6 would be a lot, would be great, a lot of good stuff. And I don't necessarily have to run the 5s to get the fish. So I think I like this. I like this. We're going to go with that. Okay. All right. So we built a big building. Now we still have 2 fishermen left. So part of me is like, do I just fish twice? Nah, because I'm going to fish twice when I retire, probably. I could do a free upgrade. I could do 2 free upgrades. I have the stuff for it. Here's what we'll do. I think we'll do 2 fish. Yeah. We're going to do 2 fish.
What did he say?
What did I do? What? Okay. So, what did I miss? I don't know. I can't tell. No idea. Okay. So I went 2 fish for one of my fishermen, and then I'm going to do an upgrade for another of my fishermen. Yeah, I like it. Or do I want to do that? Instead of doing the upgrade, do I fish once? And here's why I'm thinking maybe I fish once. If I fish once, then my boat will have 1 slot left in it. Then when I retire, I will fish twice. And then I will fill my last slot, and for my last fishing action, I'll return back home. So in one shot, I will fill the boat and return back home and probably score 4 victory points for it. Maybe not. No, I will. Yeah. Let's get the boat back home. Let's get the boat back home. We got 2 fish. We're going to take a fishing action. So, fishing action. This boat moves to the next section, and I take this tile. And it is a fish. Not a bad thing. That's what we're out here trying to do. Fishing. Okay, and then I am done. So now I'm going to retire. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I'm going to retire and I'm going to fish twice. Now I'm going to move to the next section and take the cheapest tile here. And it is 2 fish. Not a bad thing. Fish is now full, but this is a 2 fish action. So I did 1, and now I'm going to return for the last action. So I am in the 4th section of the fjord. So I get 4 victory points. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, boat comes all the way back to harbor, and the stuff that's on the boat comes to me. But first and foremost, this little section on the boat is double victory points. This lobster is 1 victory point on its own, so I get 2 victory points. Boom. And then he comes here. Now I get 3 fish and a wood. That's what's left on the boat. So I will take my little cubes and I'll say 3 fish and a wood. And all of those tiles now come off. I now have an empty boat and 4 fishing tiles, which we will hold on to for the rest of the game. That will potentially score us some victory points. We'll see. Yeah. Did I score those 2? I think I did. Yeah, I did. Okay. All right. How many big buildings do we have built? Let's just check. 1, 2, 3. 3 times 3 is 9. I need to build 1 more big building, but we have 1 more round to do that in. I think that is it. Oh, no, that is not it. We get to execute our retirement benefit. We didn't ship anything this round. That seems bad. I don't know. We'll see. But I have a lot of resources, so we get to do 1 upgrade because we have 1 lowly little shipment on this pier. We want to upgrade to a book, so we're going to take 1 of our paper into book because the next thing up is I get to make buildings for cheap. In fact, after this next big building, we're going to be able to build. Ooh, do I want to take a book? No. I don't. Do I, though? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. What am I talking about? Yes, I do. Okay. Because after I build this last big building, I'll be able to build small buildings for free. So this last round is going to get crazy nuts, I think. How do you build the building? By upgrading a wood to a plank. Well, I'm taking the big building build action as one of my actions during my turn. And in order to build a big building, I need a wood log and a plank. That's the cost for a big building. So I was converting one of my 2 logs into a plank so that I could spend the log and the plank to build the big building. Does that make sense? Combine the command. It is here on my player board. I can either draft dice, I can build big buildings, or I can retire. It's not an in order situation. I can choose whichever of those I want. Only thing is, or I can place sailors too. But the only thing is, if I choose to retire, the game is over. Oh, that does help. So here is all the drafting and goods conversion stuff. Here is build a big building, and then here is retire, and then here is sailors. Cool. Okay. Okay. So I will wait. Wait for questions. Ah, very good. Excellent. All right. So I think we're good. We're going to go ahead and retire. We did retire. We're going to go ahead and start the next round. So we're going to cycle some stuff. And then hopefully, if I can get this upgrade done quickly, we can, in fact, I might even start doing, I might use a sailor to do that upgrade right away. Just so that we can get cranking and roll some really monster turns. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Okay, let's get this thing cycled for the last round, shall we? Okay. So, last round. You can't see. You can at least watch me do this. Okay. This one, ooh, a book and a paper. That's good. That might get me some victory points, some much needed victory points. I'm not going to do very well in terms of points, but I'm going to at least try to satisfy my requirements to win. Okay. Yeah. Gold, that's going to be tough. But this one's okay. This is a book and paper. I could probably get that shipped. Okay. So there's that. Dice come off. He comes back here. Boat's back in the harbor. Orange die comes to me. Yeah. Okay. Dice come off of my player board. Sailors come back to me. Roll some bones. Without looking, we're going to see that is an orange, so it's going to go there. What is this? This is a white, that'll go there. What is this? An orange, that'll go there. This is a white, that'll go there. This is a white, this will go there. Orange is there. White is there. White is there. Orange is there. Okay, so that means the orange actually goes here. Okay, well, now it is harder to unlock these buildings because they all require 2 dice to be drawn. I guess it's not too hard because I'm going to always have the same number of dice left over. I actually just get more dice to run. So that's okay. Lots of 6s. That's good for me because I can run this 6 a couple times before it starts to stack up with dice. I can run this 6. So maybe what I'm going to do for my first trick is I'm going to take a sailor and I'm going to go here to this location where I'm not clogging up a whole lot of works, but I'm going to play that as an upgrade. And I'm going to spend the book that I've got in storage to upgrade this location to go here. Now, this lobster that I have from fishing is worth 2 victory points. Not the reason I'm here. I'm here because of this ability, which now removes the requirement to spend logs when building any building, including the ones that only require 1 log to build a building. So now, anytime I take a building action for the rest of the round, I get to build one of the small buildings for free. Now, I haven't spent any dice yet. Do I build a small building for free? Maybe, but there's a 4 there, so I don't think I want to clog up the works at all right now. I think we're going to run the 6, orange 6. We're going to run the orange 6 first because that'll end up clogging this spot, which is fine. And then I can run the 1 white and then clog that spot up. I could still then run another orange 6 and get plank and fish I do have a 3, so I could run then the 3 and get another plank. So that's feeling pretty good order of operation wise. Okay, so let's run it and see what happens. Here comes the orange 6. Orange 6, fishing action. Cool. We'll go out of the harbor. We're in our first spot here. Now, do I want to do that or do I want to upgrade first? Ooh, wait a moment. Let's put that 6 back. I could upgrade first, but not here because I don't want to block this fishing location. I could block this though, make it do so I do this now. You can't see that. I could run a sailor to run this upgrade. And here's why I'm thinking that. Because if I look on this section here, I could, I need 2 upgrades to get the next depth island upgrade. Ooh, that sucks. Oof. I don't think I'm going to be able to avoid that. Okay. I was trying to figure out if I could get access to better fishing, but I'd have to do 2 upgrades to do that. I want to do that, but I just don't see it happening. Okay, never mind. Back to the plan. We're going to run the 6 fishing action. So we're going to come out to here. We're going to grab our first fish. It is, a double fish. We're not going to put it in the storage location that requires that doubles victory points though, because it doesn't have any victory points on it. So that's good. Moving on. We get a plank. Cool. Right out of the gate, we get a plank. Then we get 2 more fish. That is good. And then finally, we can either ship a good or we can do an upgrade. The only reason to do upgrades now is for endgame scoring, if we think we're going to get a lot of scoring out of it. And I'm not confident we will. So maybe we try to ship. I could spend 2 fish to upgrade one of my paper to a book, and then I could ship that. I could ship this. That would then, when I retire, let me upgrade some goods, which I think gold is maybe probably worth some victory points at the end of the game. Not sure, but I'm guessing. So if I wanted to, I could try to get some upgrades that way. It's worth 5 victory points at the end of the game regardless, so it's pretty good. I feel like I'm leaving a lot of victory points on the table if I don't do something like that. So maybe we do that. We're going to spend 2 fish. We're going to upgrade a paper to a book. We have done that. So now we have a book and 3 paper. And then we're going to then ship this book and paper for 5 victory points at the end of the game. That then becomes the next in our pier. It itself is worth 2 victory points because we have unlocked that scoring condition. So that's good. That's actually 7 victory points later. Okay. That takes care of that. Oh, we flip over this tile. It is golden fish. Of course it is. Okay, now we're going to run the white 4, but because it's an orange. I'm sorry, we're going to run a white 1, but we're going to do it with an orange die because I have that special ability. We have another fishing action. Yeah, I'm good with it. Another fishing action. So we're going to move here and we're going to fish. It is another fish. Okay. And then we're going to get a paper. And then we're going to get a free upgrade. Well, not a free upgrade. It's just an upgrade. Well, since we're got to take the action, we might as well. Where do we think we're going to get the most victory points? What does that space mean? I don't think I've ever really reconciled what that says. It says, when completing an order, immediately gain the reward the pier where the created tile is placed. Whoa, that's cool. That's cool. Wish I had that earlier. Could do that. Wheat and a book, huh? Yeah, okay, let's do that. We're going to spend a wheat. We're going to do this upgrade. Now we have the ability to actually, when we ship goods, we're going to be able to execute the pier immediately. The corresponding pier immediately, which is good. If we can manage to ship more stuff, we'll see. But more importantly, what I'm going for is to try to get up here and get access to that scoring tile. So I need one more upgrade, but that might come in the form of a building that lets me do that. We'll see. Okay. And now we come down here and we get a wheat. And then we come down here and we do a fishing action. Boop, another fish. Another fish. Wow. Here comes all the fish. Would like some points at this point, but that's all right. Okay. Now I could run another 6. Yeah, I like that. Or I could run that 4. If I run an orange 4, I'd get a bunch of other stuff. Let's run the orange 4. I like that. No harm in that. So we start with another upgrade. We're going to spend 2 more fish. And we're going to upgrade a paper to a book. And then we're going to spend that book on this upgrade. And now we have this scoring tile. So that's 12 more victory points at the end of the game, because these 3 cogs are in this zone where they're worth 4 victory points on their own, regardless of how they score for these tiles. So that's going to double score, basically. It's just an extra bonus score. And this special ability says, it's an upgraded version of this one. When completing an order, you may place the crate tile outside any pier. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Huh. Nice. So that means I could ship stuff that's really easy for me to ship, but put it in areas that would let me score better. Like this tile right here. You can't see it because the player board's up. This tile right here is like a fish and a log. I could do that pretty easy, but I don't want to put it in this pier because it doesn't score me extra points. So I could put it here and do a upgrade, or do it here and get a point and a fish. And then that scores me 2 extra points at the end of the game because of this scoring condition over here. So that's good flexibility to keep in mind when shipping stuff. Okay, next up, player board. Next along the way, we can either ship or build a free building. Fish and a log I can do, and I don't really have a purpose for logs right now other than to upgrade them. So I could... is it worth it? It might be worth it. What if I try that? What if I look out here on the board, one of the tiles is worth 5 victory points, and I could spend 2 fish to upgrade one of my wheat into food, and then ship this. Yeah, I like it. I like it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take it as a shipping instead of a building. It might be short-sighted, but it's early, it's late game, and I need points. So let's try to get some stuff shipped and see what happens. So we're going to take it as a shipment. We're going to spend two fish, convert the wheat to a food, spend the food and the log to ship that. So I've spent that, and I am going to put it here. And my ability says, hey, when you, this unlocked permanent ability that we just unlocked a little bit ago says, you can't see, I'll turn that off. There we go. This ability here says when you ship, you get to activate the icon of the pier that the stack is next to that you shipped from, which in this case means I get a free fishing action. So I get to take a free fishing action because I shipped this. So before I forget though, oh no, I guess that's later. I get that during shipping. Okay, never mind. So yeah, let's resolve this fishing action. So I then move my boat up the fjord and I take this tile. And it is a lobster, which is perfect because it's the one spot left on my boat that lets me score some victory points. And that's the one that's doubled. So that's great. Okay, now my boat is full. The next fishing action I get will be to let it come home because it needs to come home because I want all that stuff. Okay. Now back to the player board. We're going to go here and get a wood is the next stop. And then here is the wheat. Okay. Now, do I spend a fish to convert a die into a 1 so I can take a fishing action and bring the boat home? Maybe. Maybe. We get more victory points if I do that. I think I do. I think I do that. Yeah, okay. So I think I'm going to spend 1 fish. And I'm going to convert which one? Which one? Do I ship another one? They all want gold right now, and it's driving me up a wall. I mean, when you place the shipment on your player board, does it not need to be placed in the top tier? Because yes, normally that is the case. However, good catch and good eyeballs. However, this innovation, this technical innovation lets me put that on any pier I want, but only after I have unlocked this space, which I just recently did. So good eyeballs, good eyeballs. Thanks for keeping me honest. But in this case, it was a legal move because I unlocked that ability. Okay. What do I want to do? Well, we have enough to build a big building. We need to build a big building. Maybe we run this 4. It would end up clogging up one of our wood sections, though. This is all right. I still think I like it. Yeah, we're going to run this 4. Sure. Okay, so the 4, we're going to run it as an orange 4 because I'm fancy. And then we're going to do an upgrade not for free, but we're going to do an upgrade action. So we're going to spend a paper and we're going to go here. Now we have some choice while fishing. Would have been nice to have that earlier, but it is what it is. This is the last upgrade I can do. Upgrade track I can do. Then we're going to go here. I can either ship or build a small building. Well, there's technically something I can ship. So do I, though? Because it's only 2 victory points, and it lets me convert goods that I have very few of into victory points. So basically, I get to sell certain goods. You can't see that yet. It's here. It's this one here. If I ship this, that's good. It's worth 2 victory points, and then it's worth 2 victory points because I'll place it in one of these 2 piers. And then it's worth 3 victory points because I can sell a wheat, possibly even 2 wheat. If it lets me sell more than one. What does it let me sell? It lets me sell. I don't know. What is that? It's one of the buildings. I know that. Logistics. There we go. Technology tracks. Right. I know. Great. I want to do advanced. That one. This is technology tracks. There we go. This is the one I'm looking for. Either pay 1 grain to score 3 for each tile. You may choose a different. Oh, per tile. Oh. Okay. Okay. Interesting. So that means I only get to do this one time. So it would be worth 2 plus 2 plus 3. So it would be worth 7 victory points to ship that. Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. Or I build another small building, but I only have a few actions left with which to use said building, so it's not really going to be super valuable. Yes, that's correct. I think we're going to go ahead and ship this. This is a better option than I think building a small building. I want to build a big building, but I have the stuff to do that. And I can do that at any time. And that will complete my other victory condition. So I will win the game, if you want to call it that. I just won't win it with a ton of points. I don't think. I could be wrong, but I don't think. Okay, so yeah, let's ship that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this log and my last fish, and we are going to ship this, and I'm going to convert that into, we'll go here. Now, because we shipped off of this, and because we've unlocked that special ability, I now get to execute this thing 1 time. So I'm going to then sell 1 wheat 1 time for 3 victory points. 1, 2, 3. Okay, these are all worth 2 victory points apiece. 2, 4, 6, 8 points at the end of the game, plus whatever is on the reverse side. Right, okay, moving on my player board. I'm going to go here and get another log. And then that's it. They park there because I've already got a die on the last spot. Okay, now I have 2 more dice, and they're both going to be white. So I don't have any fish left, so I need to trigger a fishing action. I don't have any fish left to do that, so that was a strategic error on my part. But I can sell paper. I don't want to sell paper. I could sell wheat for a fish and then use that fish to convert the 2, let's call it. Sure. Into a 1. I could do that. Or I could just move this 6 over there and then have access to another upgrade slot, but that doesn't do me any good. Well, it maybe does. Maybe it does. It does. Okay. We're going to sell this wheat and we're going to convert it down into a fish because we were able to do that. And I'm going to use this 6 as a 1 because I have a special ability that lets me just use it as whatever I want it to be. And we're going to run it as a white 1, and we're going to run the fishing action first. Well, the boat is full, so my fishing action is to return home. That is worth 4 victory points. 1, 2, 3, 4, because of currently where it's at. It comes back to the harbor and it returns its cargo. And its cargo is 4 fish and a lobster worth 2 victory points. I spent my fish, so now I only have 4 fish. Okay. And the lobster worth 2 victory points. Boom, boom. Those tiles come off. We're going to see if we can't get the last upgrade done, the last 2 upgrades done, and score these fishing tiles for 1 each, which will be worth 8 victory points if I manage to get that done. So here we go. Back to the player board. We get a paper. We get upgrades. We're going to spend that paper. And we're going to move up 1 spot. So now we get to fish deeper waters. A little too late there, but we might still yet get a fishing round out. I don't know. We'll see. And then we get a wheat. Last die choice. I think it better be this one, but I mean, I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna retire to that spot and build a single slot building for free. I don't have a row or a column that's 1 away, at least not yet. And it doesn't really matter. I could run it as a 2, I guess. I could just run this 6, just as it is, and get a plank and 2 fish. Or I could run this 2 as a 1 and spend a fish to do it. And then I would get another fishing action, another another paper, and a upgrade, which is my last upgrade. That might be the thing to do. I think it's the thing to do. Yeah. Ooh, wait. I got to build a big building or I lose the game. Oh, but I can do that as a free action. Not as a free action, but I can do it as a regular action without needing a die. But that might change what I choose to do. So let's build the big building first before I pick my last die. Yeah. Okay. The big building, I only need to spend a plank because I've already gotten the upgrade that lets me not have to spend logs. So I'm going to spend my 1 plank to build a big building. Now, which of the 2? Ooh, this was one that needed to go away and didn't. Okay. I could tell because the stacks weren't even. Okay, so let's push in here so we can see our choices. Very good. All right, so we have 2 things. Well, this doesn't count as victory points. It just helped us win the game, which we have succeeded in doing. So this is the better choice because it gives me 2 victory points and it gives me another upgrade slot. But this lets me ship again. Not a bad thing either if I run it. That's true. Yep, that is true. You are right. I think I'll go for the victory points because I think I can get that column done and get those 2 victory points before the end of the game. Yeah, we're going to go for the victory points. And that means this tile comes off as not chosen. And I think one of the only places left I can build a big building is either here. Actually, that would complete that column, wouldn't it? Let's bring you back here so you can see what I'm looking at. So I could put this building here, which would complete this column right away and score me those 2 victory points. That's choice. The other option is I could run it here and then build a single building later here and finish it that way. Advantage being I could run 3 actions that way, 3 actions that way. But I think I'm going to go for the easiest route and just go for the we don't really care route and just get the victory points. We're going to finish that column. Yeah, I do. I have 2 spaces left. I guess technically I even have more than that because I could run it like that, right? So I have 3 spaces left, really, for a large building. I'm trying to decide if that's really the right thing for me to do, because I could run the 2 without having to pay the fish. And then I would get the last upgrade and then a building, and that would let me put this building in here. Or a ship. Yeah, I think it makes more sense to put it here. Not get the victory points right now, and then run it as a 2. Because watch this. This will be fun. This is something I haven't been able to show you guys yet. Let's see. It would score you 2 as a fish, which wouldn't be the fishing themed game. Yeah, that's true. It would score you 2 victory points and a fish. Oh, here? Yeah, that's true. That is true. But watch, I'm going to get fish from this too. So watch this. So we're going to run this as the 2 straight up. And we're going to get a wood as our first step. And then we're going to get an upgrade. So I'm going to spend 2 fish to convert this paper into a book. And I'm going to pay for that last upgrade spot. Ta-da! So that book is now gone. And we now can fish at all depths. And all of our tiles have converted into victory points. Our fishing tiles. So we've just successfully scored, I think, 8 from that. And then I don't think we're going to get any more, but maybe we will. But regardless, that was important. So we got that done. Here, let's me either build a small building or ship. Now I need to pay close attention to that. I think I'm going to build a small building this time. And I'm going to go for the one that's victory points. So that's this guy. You can't see it, but I'll show it to you here. You'll see it when I plop it down. We're going to go do that. Yeah, we're going to do that right there. Now, here's the thing about this game. My last action was here. I'm not done running the column yet. So if I wanted to, I could flip that around and put the fish here. This 2 fish building, I could put it here. And then this die would keep moving because there's now a new place for it to go. As it is, though, it's more important to me to get the victory points for the finished column. So I'm going to get 3 victory points instead, and that die is not going to move. But I could have continued to move if I had rotated it, because the die hadn't finished moving yet, and there is now a new place for it to go. So keep that in mind if you play this game. Order of operations can sometimes mean that you can build something and immediately use it. So I'm going for right now 3 victory points. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that was my last die. I've got 2 fishermen left. And I have built my 4th big building, which now means I have successfully completed my last victory condition. So technically I will win the game. How well I score? We'll see. Okay. We have 2 fishermen left right here. I could upgrade again, but there's nothing to upgrade, and I don't have the resources to do that. I could build a small building, I think. Do I still have one left? Oh, no, I don't. Oh, dear. I was kind of counting on that. But I blocked it with a die. No bueno. I could. Ooh. Well. I'm going to be able to, if I want to, I could use my retirement to retire to here and get a free single space tile, which would let me complete a column or a row. And depending on which one I get, could be a gold bar, which could be valuable. But that's not going to help me now. I'm trying to decide what the better thing to do is. I could get fish. I could do upgrades. Component like I could take this to a plank, and then can I ship? Is there even a ship? No, I could go fishing, but I mean, what good is that going to be? I don't think the fishing boat comes home at the end. We could try it. Does it? Let's see. Returning home. At the end of the game, final scoring, next page. Yeah, okay. Let's come to the end of the game, regular. Yeah, oh, I do. Gain resources and points off of my unfinished boats. Aha! So I could go sailing. And the only reason I would do that is because I can now fish the deepest waters, which are the highest valuable tiles out there. I don't know what I'm going to get, or I don't even know what's possible to get. But I could get that, and maybe if it's a high value thing, I could stick it in the boat and get double X the victory points. I mean, that seems like a shot in the dark, but it's worth it. And I do have a sailor left. Oh, right. I did complete a column. Oh, I did. You're right. You're totally right. Thank you. Heads up. Appreciate that. Got a fish. You're totally right. Okay. So I think since we're upgrade done, we're just going to spend a sailor to go fishing. We're going to just see what we get, right? So first, I've never seen these tiles at all, so I have no idea. We're in the first section, and we're going to take the deepest tile. And it is a gold bar. Well, we're going to get a gold bar. That's good. I wish I could ship it, but I can't. I could go here, get a plank, build a big building with some victory points on it. And if I can manage to get a column done, I think I can. Ooh, yeah. Okay. I'm liking this. This is good. I think we come here. I could do a goods conversion instead of going here, but I could instead go here, but it's the same deal. I could make a plank. Yeah, let's just go here, get a plank. We have a plank, and now we're going to take the build a big building action, go spend the plank. And now we have 3 options, all of which can be used to complete a column. I can't complete any rows with it, but I can come close. Oh, that's not true. I can complete a row. Oh, let me see. Is that something it is something I can do. Oh, yeah. Let's build this one. That lets me complete row 2. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm almost done with column 4. So I get 4 victory points for completing that row. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're at 25 points. Not too shabby. Okay, the plank has been spent. That's good. Fishermen are done. Dice have been drafted. And I think all it is left to do is retire. Right. Now, here's the big question. When we retire, we have the option of going fishing twice. Well, we just pulled a gold bar. And final scoring says, sell all your non-fish resources. Then score 1 point for every 3 fish you have. Golds sell for 3 fish, so they're 1 victory point apiece. If I pull something with high value victory points on them, then let's see. What do I get when I say, let's see, any fishing tokens? You do not score points adjacent to the area of your fishing point. Ah, bummer. 3, wait, no, I do. Wait, you do not score points adjacent to the area. Oh, I see. Yeah, the boat doesn't come home. So you don't get points for the boat coming home, but you do get points for the stuff on your boat. Okay, good. So I could go fishing twice and see if I get either victory point stuff or more gold. Yeah, you're right. Correct. Let's see. Or I could come here and build a single building for free, which would guarantee me 2 victory points, because I would be able to complete this column right here with 2 victory points in it. Do I gamble on fishing in a fishing game? Or do I take the sure bet and get 2 victory points and a gold? Because that's what I'd be building, is a gold single building. So I guess it's really 3 victory points. I think I probably should finish the column and get the 3 victory points, because even if I pull 2 gold bars out of the water, that's still only going to be 3. Fish for the plot. Ooh, yeah, you know, it is streaming. It is streaming. Might as well, right? You're right. Good point. For the plot, as they say. For the stream. Whew, but then I don't complete that column. Does that bother me? I don't think it bothers me. Nah, it doesn't bother me. I can't ship because I didn't take the dice off that one. Okay, why not? It's a fishing game. For the plot, as he says. Okay, fishing action number 1. We move up, we pull the deep tile, and we get another gold bar, another victory point. Okay, here we go. We fish again up to the next one, and or we could bring it home, but it doesn't really matter because it would only be 1 victory point. Screw it. Fishing 2. Oh, yeah. Yeah. We get a squid, and it looks like a fish. That is worth 3 victory points on its own. It's now worth 6 victory points just for that tile. For the stream. That was the right call. We gambled and it paid off. Okay. Oh yeah. That feels good. That feels good. Even if I don't rack up a bunch of points, I'm happy with that as my last action. Okay, we retired. That is it. Let us score this thing up and see what we get. Right. Okay. First, gain the resources and points from any fishing tokens remaining on your boat. So this is gold. So we're going to put 2 gold in the box. These 2 come. Oh, that's the other thing. These tiles are all worth 1 victory point just for the tiles, because I got that benefit, or we got the advancement. So it's worth fishing just for that. And now this location is on the boat is 3 victory points times 2, which is 6 victory points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're at 31. This becomes its own tile, and it also had a fish on it, so I get 1 fish as well. Nice. Okay, sell all your non-fish resources for fish. I have 2 gold bars. They are worth 3 apiece, so that is 6. That is 6 fish. Player board. Yeah. And then we have 2 logs, which is 1 fish apiece. So we'll just downgrade those back to fish. Cool. Now score 1 point for every 3 fish. So that's 1.2 points, 3 points, 4 points. Nice. 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. 35 points so far. Score 3 points for each set of 4 crates. I do not have a single set. I hadn't thought about that. That is a scoring condition, but it's not the end of the world. So I get 0 from columns of completed crates, unfortunately. Flip all crate tiles face up and score the points shown. Oh, I didn't do the actual retirement stuff. Oh. I only had, did I have 2 logs? So this would have been 2 extra fish. Let's call it 1 more point. I would have gotten 1 more. I had some fish too. I could have done some pokery there, but I only get 2 upgrades. So what I would have been able to move 1 log, 1 space. It would have been 3 extra fish. We'll call it 1 extra point. That's what would have happened there. This gives me, this gives me 2 more fish. So, and I had 1 fish left over. I remember that. So that's 1 extra point from that. Plus I get 1 point per crate. So that's 1, 2. Okay, I did my retroactive retirement going on there. We are now at 39 points. So I feel good about that scoring. I don't feel like I overextended myself on the fish upgrades. If anything, I'm probably down a point. We'll see. Okay, now we flip these over and we score them for what's on their faces. That is 5, 6. Oh, let's see, 13 points. Yeah, 13 points. So that is 39 to 49, 50, 51, 52. Okay. For each technology marker, score the points shown to the right of its row. Right, so this is that we are scoring each tile. Technology markers on the top level score according to the corresponding scoring tiles. Yes, okay. So here, it's 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points. We're at 60, not too bad. Here we have 1 lobster. I know that. I'm pretty sure, yeah, there's our 1 lobster. 2, oh no, that's not true. We do have more than 1. Ooh, oh. Let's go find them then. Okay. 1 lobster, 2 lobster. Okay. We have 2 lobsters times 2. 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. 64 points. Okay, the next one, you can't see it. Next one. Let me reread that and make sure I'm right. 4 points for each of your technology markers on level 2 or 3. So I think this is 2 or 3. This is level 1. This is 0. You're not on a level. Level 1, 2, or 3. So that means all four of these will score 4 points apiece. So that is 16 points. So 10 is 74 plus 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 1, 6. 16 points. We're at 80 points. Not doing as bad as I thought. Okay, last one is 1 point per tile. 1 point per fishing token, I should say. Let's be accurate here. So we ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 points just from fishing. So we're at 10, we're at 91 points. Okay. And that, I think, is it. Yeah, that's it. I think we got it all. So we didn't quite crack 100. But that's all right. I feel pretty good about that. We are 10 points away from our bronze medal for our very first game. I feel good about that. And as much as this game has going on, At no time did I feel playing the game like I was lost, like I was buried in decisions that I didn't know how to work my way out of. It didn't take me long to work out what I wanted to do, even when I had really good, hard decisions to make. And I feel good about the choices that I made. I feel like I can play it better if I played it more. And that's what I want from a game like this. I feel really good about it. I really like it. I feel like it does this player board programming feels exactly like I want it to feel from Santa Maria without the terrible cultural problem. So, I mean, honestly, mission successful. I'm going to have a real hard time keeping Santa Maria on the shelf at this point because I now get what I want from Santa Maria. And I get it with a bunch of other really fun mechanics. And I'm really kind of excited to see how they expand it because the player powers, there's only like 8 of those tiles. Like, why is there only 8 of those? I feel like they could really, I mean, I know why, because those powers are so like useful that you really want to be careful not to create player power tiles that don't break the game. So like, I bet they played the hell out of those to make them balanced. And there's been some people online talking about how some of these powers don't feel terribly balanced. But then there's other people saying, I've played every one of them at different points. And I feel like and I've played against them at different points. And I feel like they all kind of balance each other out really well. You just have to learn how to play them. So this is, for my money, a Santa Maria killer, as it was probably designed to be. I should mention that I tried to get this game through a US distributor and couldn't get it. I tried to go to the source, the one who's licensed to actually distribute it in the US, and they have been radio silent on where this game is. And this was before the whole tariff mess actually happened. And it just has continued to be radio silent for months. I canceled my pre-order with my friendly local game store, and I just imported it from a game seller in Germany. The English version. I just couldn't wait anymore. This was top on my list, probably for top 1 or 2 games for 2024 that I've been wanting to play for a long time. And I just got so tired of waiting. All the pre-orders online from all the different vendors have just been pushed out and pushed out. They're now into July. And there's no word on when this game is going to fulfill now in the US. It's been in the rest of the world for quite some time, especially in Europe. This is a 2024 title that has got its US distribution completely botched, in my view. So unfortunately, if you want your hands on this game, which you should, I really think it's really a great game. I think this supplants a top 20 game for me. So that doesn't happen to me every day. You're going to have to wait, unfortunately, or you're going to have to do what I did and go to the BGG market and find a game seller in another part of the world that's selling a copy of this game and just buy that. I got lucky and found one with reasonable international shipping, and it was probably no different than me trying to back this on a campaign if they had actually gone to crowdfunding, which they didn't. This is direct to retail. So this has been Saltfjord. I hope it's been an entertaining view into this game. I am going to play this game a lot. I may not try to bore you with it on stream very often, but this game is a game that will now finally hit my table a lot more, thank you to a much better thematic choice here. So thank you for joining me. I hope you really enjoyed it. I certainly have. And who dislikes fishing? That's right. That's right. Who dislikes fishing indeed? So I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly have. This has been Saltfjord. I have been Shub, here playing on this lovely Sunday. And join me again next week, shall you? We'll see you again soon. All right. Take care.